Hey guys, Ash here for BPM, and joining me is one of Australia's most talented singer-songwriters, Miss Julia Stone. Welcome home, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Thanks for having me.
No, I'm very excited to have you. So obviously By the Horns is actually your second solo album. The first one was The Memory Machine. So how was working on this second record a little bit different to your first solo one?
I guess the main difference was working with producers that were taking the whole kind of the role of production like more seriously, I guess. I mean, working on The Memory Machine, it was kind of like I was recording between different studios, and it was done over 5 months, and it was a little bit here and there, and I just sort of, and I was producing it with these people, and so it was a little bit like when I felt like going into the studio and when I felt like singing a song, and then maybe I'd spend, you know, a lot of time on, you know, I don't know, on my ideas that I was having for The Memory Machine. And then this time round, I wanted to work with Thomas Bartlett and Pat Dillett, and I wanted them to just take on all of the production roles and just go into the studio, and they'd choose the musicians and just work for like a week, you know, or 2 weeks on a record and make it quickly. And that was really different, you know, it was done really quickly, and I pretty much just sat back and let them do their thing and just was a musician, you know.
A bit different for you?
Yeah, it was nice.
And so the album really explores the full spectrum of sort of like emotions around love. Do you draw mainly on your personal experiences, or a bit from everywhere, friends and...?
Yeah, it's a little bit from everywhere. I mean, I think always as a songwriter, the experiences that I go through are sort of the filter for anything that I hear about or read about, or but yeah, I mean, the inspiration for writing is always different. Sometimes it's, you know, like a couple of tracks on the record I wrote after reading a story about a little girl whose parents were divorcing, and it was just, you know, I found that it really touched me, and I wanted to sing after reading the story, and then when I started singing, these songs came out, and it was really her story, but I guess as well my own experience of that came through and is part of it. And so yeah, I don't know, it's a mix, I guess.
Do you find it hard with the more personal ones, you know, to put that out there and, you know, to the listeners? Is it a bit daunting?
I mean, I don't think about it so much. The only time I do think about it is really when I play live, you know, because it's very direct and there's people there. But I mean, when I'm writing a song, I don't ever think about, you know, is this too much? Am I saying too much? Am I revealing too much? I mean, it's not, it's just not in my brain makeup to do that. But yeah, when I'm playing live, sometimes I kind of think, wow, you know, especially I chat a lot as well. So sometimes I think maybe I shouldn't, you know, maybe I shouldn't say what happened in this little scene. But yeah, I don't know. I like it as well. I like sharing all.
Is there one song on this album that is particularly special to you?
Yeah, the line that ties me, I think, at the moment for me is really, you know, I think when I sing it now, I feel quite emotional, because it makes me think about what it is to have to accept, you know, that life has an ending. And I think that's, you know, for me, I think, and probably for other people, it's one of the things that we struggle with, is that everything has to end at some point, which ultimately leads to us dying, and, you know, and people around us dying. And that song is kind of a reminder for me always of just to kind of accept and accept and accept, and everything's okay, and even death, you know, it's like even letting go of people that you love in that state is okay and natural and normal. And yeah, so that song, I think, is important to me.
What's the message that you hope people take away from the record?
I don't know if there is a message. I mean, I like to, a song that has maybe a good message is in it, and I wrote this song specifically for me on stage, because I'm very, you know, my mind is like all over the place. So I wrote a song that I could be on stage and sing and think about, well, not even think about, just be present in the song. And it's called I Want to Live Here, and it's just about wanting to like be on stage singing music and making music and be in that experience. So I guess for other people to take away from that song is just to, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, however you're living, and whatever your job is, or you know, that you're in it and living it.
Hear my heart, it's calling you. Ice is slowly melting away.
Let's talk about some of the video clips from the album so far. So the first one, for Let's Forget All the Things That We Say, stars Shiloh Fernandez. What was it like sort of being romantic on screen and working with an actor in the clip?
It was really wonderful. I mean, it was my first kind of like, wow, this is kind of could be fun, you know, because it's such to play make believe, and I don't know, it's like being a kid again in a way. And he was so lovely. I was very nervous about it because, you know, we had to pretend like we were in love, and I had never met him, but he turned up, and I told him I was nervous, and he was actually kind of nervous as well. I mean, together we were a bit like, you're meeting a stranger and then you're shooting in half an hour, like holding each other like you've been in love your whole life. And but yeah, he's so good, and he's so comfortable in being in front of the camera and doing that he made me feel like it was totally normal to be in love, you know. And I think if you've ever been in love, you can always recreate that with somebody, and I really believe it's possible to fall in love with anybody. So yeah, it was I totally fell in love with him, you know. I was in it, and then they're like, and that's a wrap, and you know, and I did sort of feel a bit like, so when are we
Where do we go from here?
So what happens now?
And the second clip, for It's All Okay, you've got a blonde wig on and you're in this cool old convertible. What was that like?
That was really fun. I mean, it was so fun to pretend to be someone else again, and it was a bit more I don't know, it was a bit more creepy, and the actual shooting of it was so fun because it was a night shoot from, I guess, 9 until 7 the next morning, and we did it over 2 nights, and it was just driving an old car like that in the middle of the night out in the back streets of Marrickville or wherever we were. It was so fun. I was loving being in an old car, and the crew was so lovely, and it was just one of those really nice experiences with everybody. You're all kind of really tired and wired because you're shooting at these crazy hours, but yeah, it's good.
And for By the Horns, it's a beautiful clip, you know, the water and snakes, and you've got this little sort of, I don't know what it is, little monster type thing?
Yeah, little Charlie.
Yeah, what was the inspiration behind that one?
Well, actually the director, she's amazing, her name's Jessie Hill. She's a dear friend of mine, and she comes up with these just amazing ideas all the time for different things. And when she heard that song, I mean, she heard it before it was recorded, and she just said, I can see you singing this to this creature, you know, and it's almost like you've turned him into this to punish him, you know. And I just totally trust her and knew that whatever she was imagining was going to be cool. And then when she got the animatronic guy to build this thing, she kept sending me pictures, and slowly he came into formation, and he was so beautiful. I mean, I felt bad for him that I turned him into that, but he's actually just kind of adorable as well. And in the end, I guess I've turned him into this little creature, but at the same time, he's the one that I end up hurting myself on his horn, you know. And it's all this kind of like, it all comes full circle. Even if you're angry at somebody and you want to get revenge, then the revenge always ends up coming back onto you anyway. So I liked that idea that she had in there as well.
No, it's a really well put together, beautiful clip. What is the craziest thing you've ever done for love?
Oh, I've done some really crazy things. It was funny, I was listening to this girl talking about her experience of falling in love, and it was on, what was it? There's a My American Life, I think, podcast. It's very cool. Anyway, she was talking about how she was so in love with this guy that she went to his window and she would play him music that she had written for him outside the window. And she said, there's totally a double standard with guys that write songs for girls or girls that write songs for guys. And I kind of agree that it's kind of, you can seem a bit creepy if you're singing outside of a guy's house to him. But if a guy did that, it'd be romantic. But if a girl does it, it's a bit like, oh God, call the cops.
That is true.
But anyway, I've never done that. But I often write songs, you know, and then we'll record them and send them to lovers. But usually it's, you know, it's a reciprocated thing. But I have played a song for someone and they've been like, cool. It's a nice song.
What's the best advice you've ever been given?
You're only going to be as happy as you are right now. And I guess that really related to where I was at the time. So.
There you have it, you're only going to be as happy as you are right now, which is pretty good advice from Julia. Make sure you download her album By the Horns from Big Pond Music now, and she'll be back in Australia doing some touring in September, so do yourself a favour and get along and see her live. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.